Our next section is related to topic master, and we have a guest of honor. Halley Turner is going to ask. She's going to be our topic master. So please join me to welcome Halley.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, as I am one myself, guest Ruth and Joey. I am so grateful that you guys are indulging me today to be your table topics master as we talk about transportation. Just a note, because we do have Ruth did mention that she has been a Toastmaster, that this is intended to be an opportunity for us to practice impromptu communication skills, for us all to think on our feet by answering unrehearsed questions. We will have 1 to 2 minutes to answer questions about transportation, and I do encourage you to use the word of the day, specious, which I had to write the phonetic so I could make sure that I said that correctly. And just a little bit of background on why I'm here today. Your opinions will help shape transportation in Minnesota for the next 20 years. MNDOT, the Department of Transportation, the agency that I work for, is working to update our highest transportation policy plan for the state of Minnesota. It's for all modes of transportation, for all users. Your responses will be important context for setting priorities and strategies to keep Minnesota moving for 20 years. Just a lighthearted topic, right? So, and I know that we have a little bit of a mix of Zoom and people in the room. So in the clubs that I'm in, we normally say the question and then the person. I might say the person because I'm gonna try to do a mix of people at Charlie's and Zoom. So I'll say the person if it's someone in the room so that you have time to get to the podium. Hannah, would you come to the podium so I can ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Thinking back,
what kind of answer you get, but
that's okay. Hopefully you guys will be able to. It's mostly about your personal experience, so it probably should be good. Thinking back to pre-COVID times, how did you typically get around?
in my wonderful Saturn.
Ah, I had a Saturn.
It's almost 20 years old, and it now won't start half of the time. And it's what is it? Anyway, it starts when it wants to. And then I turn it on till all the lights come on, and I set my timer for 14 minutes, and then hopefully it starts. So it's very temperamental. It's kind of like I am.
I appreciate that.
It's my challenge to keep that thing going, and when something drastic goes bad, then I get rid of it. But until it starts all the time, it never let me sit. It starts eventually. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Hannah. All right, and I am taking notes, not with your names, to summarize as that context. So if I'm a little slow, it's because I'm taking notes on your fantastic responses. Neen, how have your transportation needs changed with the pandemic?
Thank you, Halley, for the questions. To be honest, I'm kind of the outlier in the population. I don't really like to drive, as many of my fellow Toastmasters know. I only drive to IBM, park my car, hop on the bus, and get to work. And that is usually my main transportation. So basically the pandemic really did not change at all for me. I would drive my car 8 minutes to the morning to IBM, park my car. There's still a bus that is waiting for me, hop on, except, now there's social distancing. So you have to wait a longer line and things like that. But that really not changed for me. the only inconvenient thing, it's not really inconvenience, but I would think of is if I ever need to go to the airport, for example, in the past, I would be booking a shuttle from groom transport and whatnot to get to the airport. I think nowadays, I think the service is still available. It's just that I'm hesitant to be sitting in the van with other people, and that is the difference that is made from the pandemic. So if that would be happen, I would have to get a friend to give me a ride to the airport. So that would be something that is different for me. Other than that, nothing really changed. Thank you.
Thank you, Neen. All right. Next question is for Tim.
Hi, Halley.
Hi. What do you think is the greatest priority for transportation in the state?
I think more of getting more shared transportation. I think talking like Nee said, right now for us to get to the airport, we're either driving ourselves or renting space on a shuttle service. And I know there's been a lot of controversy about building a light rail between Rochester and the cities, but there are times I could see the advantage of that where if I'm not wanting to park or try to deal with weather, that maybe a light rail would be good, though I know there's been a lot of controversy in the communities between Rochester and the cities doing that. I've taken light rail in the Twin Cities, and I'm a huge fan of that, especially if I'm trying to get to any of the stadiums downtown. To me, that's a great option. I also know that when I go west, I'll be really happy when Highway 14 is expanded to 4 lanes for a lot of that stretch to Owatonna and past. So I'm a huge fan of that. But I would say that more service that would be shared, light rail or options like that. I'm glad to see that the Southwest option is being considered in the cities and started to get funding. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of the light rail when I'm getting around the cities. So that would be one thing I'd like to see continue. Back to you, Halley.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Before MNDOT, I was a transit planner, so you're speaking my language. You're warming my heart on this slightly snowy morning. All right, next question for Rick. What do you want the future of transportation to look like and why?
Rick, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute.
How about that?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Thank you. Halley, could you give me the question again, please?
Absolutely. What do you want the future of transportation to look like and why?
Well, I don't believe there's really a solid answer for that. Wow, look at that dog. My God, we should ride dogs. That's what we should do.
Yeah, I agree. Just dogs, capital exclamation.
I think the vision of transportation in the past has been more concrete. And, quite frankly, we cannot concrete ourselves out of these problems. Christy talked about spacious, and she talked about in reference to me, but I think it can be related to concrete and our future. We need to have a diversity of options. Bicycles need to be part of it. Electric will certainly be part of it, and all sorts of things like that. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of solid walking. Walking would be good for us. Marie talked about getting away from the cookies at Christmas time, but these are all answers. There is no simple answer, and we cannot concrete our way into the future, but there are a lot of other things we've just got to consider. And the really hard part of it is they all cost money. So thank you for letting me talk about that, Halley.
Thank you, Rick. That is quite the segue. Did I get Eric? We have Is Eric coming up to the podium? All right. Oh, wait.
Hello, Halley.
Hi, Eric. This might be a little unfair, but a good segue from Rick's answer.
All right.
We have lots of transportation needs and limited funding. How do you recommend that we balance those decisions?
Well, Halley, that is quite the question. How do we balance these different things? Well, as Rick said, we definitely have a lot of options out there. There's a lot of things I think that could take us in the right direction. Which ones do we choose first? Well, I would think that improving the travel that we have now would be, in my mind, would be a topic that I would consider, even though I'm not specious on the topic in any way, I would consider that a top priority. Especially, I'm with Tim. I've got to go west. So this is me being, what's the word I'm looking for? Needy. That's not the right word, but I go west quite often because I have family out west, and that Highway 14 to hit to Owatonna, that'd be great if we could get those 4 lanes taken care of. But I also think that furthering other options, because the more optionality that we have, the better travel is going to become. I like the idea of giving different options to different people, because there are going to be people, as Nee said, he might be a little bit of an outlier, and he's going to want to travel with people from time to time. He's only going to go to the same part every time, but there's people like me. I go all over the place, and I'd love the opportunity to try a light rail to see if it's something that I like a little bit different. I'd like the opportunity to try something electric so that we could keep from continuing to pollute our world even more. So I don't know if I answered your question very well, but that would be my thoughts on the topic. Back to you, Halley.
Thank you so much, Eric. Ruth, would you be willing to answer a question today?
Sure.
All right. What should the Department of Transportation focus on for the next 5 years, and why?
Okay, so one of the things that has impacted our society a lot in the last few months has been racial tensions, and I think that we need to make transportation accessible to all, especially like my friend Joey here. And so so Joey's challenge is that he actually gets car sick. So I think we need to start looking at more air-based transportation options. I mean, goodness knows, who wouldn't enjoy the sensation of free flight? So I think, short-range gliders, to get from one place to another would be awesome. I'd love to see that. So I'd love to see a focus on more air-based types of transportation.
Thank you, Ruth.
Halley, one more question.
Absolutely. All right. Everyone that had said that they were open for topics was called on. Rebecca, you already had a speaking part. Would you be willing to? Oh, Mike is available. Okay,
hey,
thank
Halley.
you. Thank you. I did not note Mike correctly. Thank you, Mike. What is the single most important thing that you want me as MNDOT to know about your transportation needs?
Thank you, Halley. I've been pondering a lot of the questions you've been asking, and one of the things that's forefront in my mind is the safety of what we already have. So I really appreciate that when a great big bridge fell down back a little bit, we did a review and we said, holy schmoly, a lot of our bridges are unsafe. So we launched this effort to fix bridges. I think that's really worthwhile. In Rochester, we've got this phenomena called roundabouts. And some of that's a kamikaze event. But as people learn how to do that, that can improve our safety instead of guessing as to whether things are going to stop or not. Roundabouts are good. I think it's important that roads that are heavily traveled are well maintained. It's tough to go up Highway 52 and have that thing just get shaken half to death. And there's so many cars on these. And of course, that's the idea with Highway 14 going west and east. A lot of cars travel on that. In my mind, having safety is not a specious idea. It's a forefront idea. It's something we need to be focusing on and maintaining roads, making sure the bridges are good, and helping people figure out these roundabouts are a couple of ideas. Thank you, Halley.
Great. Thank you so much. Fozzie, I pass it back on to you. Table topics, or sorry, Toastmaster, still early and I'm under caffeinated. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Halley. And as a senior, my comment is going to be that having a light rate from Rochester to Twin Cities, especially during the winter for seniors, that would be fantastic. Thank you.